Oh, damn it.
It's just a bunch of real, genuine giggles.
Right. A bunch, just Chuckle Fest, if we're going to make more Dan Cook references.
Well, oh God, please,
God,
please.
no.
Yeah.
Look, you can't be all Chuckle House, okay? You go to Van Damme.
Well,
Welcome to the first episode of the Cynical Nerd Podcast. My name is Chris. Today I have with me Scott. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. My name is Scott. I stream on Twitch, not Mixer, and I'm Swearwolf. I love horror, sci-fi, and apparently I'm an MCU fanboy, according to Derek.
Maybe fuckboy also. I'm not sure. Fanboy definitely. That's like.
Was it with a Y or an I? Because I'll take it with the I.
It's with the I.
Not the Y.
That's good. Okay. And we also have Derek. How's it going, buddy?
What's up? I'm Derek. I feel like I've done this twice before. Feels like. Dr. Gloom MD on Twitch, stream sometimes, and that's it. That's everything. Derek and Twitch.
This podcast is very much Doctor Strange fighting Dormammu. For reasons.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna bite my joke, bro?
Oh, I'm gonna bite that joke hard
right at the fucking gate
because it's a fantastic joke. You should be proud of yourself. So we're gonna do this in a very loose format. We have week in review news followed by a couple main topics of discussion. Right now, those main topics for today are The Boys episode 5 and 6. Microsoft purchases Bethesda. Side note here, show note. Holy shit, because no one saw that coming. There's a WandaVision trailer, and then we're going to put some thoughts about the Amazon Game Service. So, week in review right out the gate. I'm going to take a little counter here of how many who gives a shits I get. Supergirl will be ending with season 6. Do you care?
No.
Did you watch any?
No, I mean, I watched the trailer after that guy, I think it was Cohen. Cohen tweeted about how hard he was for Supergirl. And one has to wonder, is he thinking about Supergirl now that he's in prison, jacking off in his cell every night? I mean, has it come full circle? Is that his moment of irony, that great irony of his life?
Coomb.
But also, no, I don't give a shit at all. I could barely care about a Superman miniseries, let alone Supergirl.
How about you, Derek?
Yeah, I've never been able to get into the fucking CW verse. Like, it's just not. It's just not good to me. I never even tried to watch Supergirl, just to be candid, but I did try to watch The Flash, and seeing that it's the same, like, it just seems so overproduced. Like, there's not a fucking scuff on anyone's outfit. It's just like, it's just not my thing.
Trying to get
I know a lot of people
bro?
are into it, but what's that?
You unscuffed Flash?
Have I unscuffed Flash?
You want some scuff marks on his outfit?
Yeah, I want him to be dirty. I want him to be a dirty little bitch.
Should he be melting through the soles of his shoes every time he comes back from a run?
Yeah, dude, exactly. That's what I want to see.
The Flash is the only show on the CW verse, which makes me cringe to say out loud, that I actually ever gave a shit about. And even for that show, I only cared about it for the first, I don't know, maybe 3 seasons, and that could be a stretch. I've since stopped watching it unless there's some big fuck off crossover, because those are usually just dumb fun.
Can I ask you, did you also give a shit about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at one point?
No.
Okay.
Never watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, they really didn't give you a choice about that one. That was just no way to even kind of enjoy that, ironically.
Yeah, remember that guy that we killed off and literally carried the entire emotional weight of our first big team-up film? Well, he's not really dead, but he is mundane.
He's mundane, and from what I read,
he's not dead, but he might as well be.
We're gonna create the most convoluted comeback arc in all of history, but still never tell any of those people who'd be really happy to know he's alive that he's alive. Because fuck it, right?
Yeah, you think they would notice, though? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So it's the only thing to note about this is that they are coming out with a Superman and Lois show. I believe it's starting this year with the Tyler. I'm gonna butcher his last name. Starts with an H. Tyler H. Playing Superman. He was an all right Superman. I didn't hate it in the show.
Sorry, which is he the guy who played him in one of the movies?
No. That's the guy that played him in the actual CW. Whenever he was in a crossover or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not terrible. He looks a little like if you were to picture.
He's bad to look at. I just pulled up man. It's not good. I recommend you do it too. It's really not easy.
Hard left.
What's his name?
Tyler.
Tyler like Hoechlin.
Yeah, just
Hoechlin? Hoechl.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm telling you, you look
yeah.
you guys are laughing at him so hard you're making me defend a show I don't even like. He looks awkward on screen, and when they showed a picture of him, I was like, "Oh, he's just not really doing it for me. He doesn't look the part of Superman or Clark Kent." But he, like, his demeanor, like, pulls it off somehow on the show. I don't know.
Right.
This guy looks like the kind of guy that Seth MacFarlane would think is a douchebag. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so bad.
That's a great analogy. I've never. That's also such an insult in and of itself. Though. Like,
yeah.
You're the kind of guy Seth MacFarlane would think is a bag of shit.
Listeners, once you just pull up that Google image search for Tyler Hoechlin, it'll all make sense. It's really not good. There's nothing redeeming about it.
So moving on, unless you have any final thoughts on Tyler Hoechlin.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if they're doing a Lois and Clark series, like, it's got to be Dean Cain or get the fuck out. You know what I mean? I want that corny, cheesy, almost David Lynch-esque Superman Lois and Clark, where it's just weekly, shallow, episodic content. You know what I mean? I don't want them to try to do something serious with it, because it doesn't work well in a short form format like that, where every week you have to keep it dramatic.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, they're canceling Supergirl. They're going to have this Superman and Lois show going on. I don't know. Like, I really, I don't also give much of a shit. I just thought we should bring it up because it's, it's interesting. I didn't think the show was doing that poorly. I thought it was like their third most popular show out of all the.
I thought it got canceled like 3 years ago. Like,
I didn't know it was still on. I'm going to be honest.
When I saw that in there, I'm like, why are we going over old news? And I was like, oh, it's not old news at all. I haven't heard anything. I don't know anyone who's even heard a rumor about that show. I have like, I had no idea it was still on. But I'm sorry to see it go.
I can really tell the sincerity in your voice.
So is Cohen, bro.
So is Cohen. The next thing coming up, we haven't discussed this. I don't even really think amongst ourselves. There's a new universe, which is basically the Disney relaunch of the Old Republic for Star Wars. It's going to be called Star Wars: The High Republic, which instantly conjures very stupid childlike images in my head of Jedis smoking weed. And they have, it's a pretty basic premise. It's 1,000 years ago, there's a great evil that emerges, and this is what the Republic was back then. There were a ton of Jedi. There's a great peace. It's a nice fuck off reset button for them to be able to go, we're not touching anything that and I'm sure they're going to end up somehow referencing something.
They can't help themselves when it comes to fan service. It's like it's like Ren and Stimpy. The episode where there's that giant red button and his eyes are literally just glued to it, like suction cups. When they see an opportunity for fan service, they jump on it every single time.
So that's why, like, getting J.J. Abrams, who's like the king of fan service, to do 7 and 9, you just knew it was coming, which made it a little easier, but a little heavy-handed. Yeah.
So the description, and it's not 1,000 years, I misspoke. Set 200 years before the events of the Skywalker saga. The High Republic takes place in a prosperous, mostly peaceful era in which Jedi Knights serve as sort of sheriffs of the Old West, maintaining justice and order in the potentially dangerous Outer Rim region of the galaxy. We know so it's going to be a bunch of interconnected narratives, comics, I assume some kind of show. They haven't really announced a whole lot besides the comic kickoff portion of it, but there's going to be a lot of interconnected ones. The series villain is called the Nihil, Nihil. Like nihilist, I guess, as a group of anarchic marauders with some unique abilities. But they don't go so far as to say like force wielders, but they're fucking force wielders.
Yeah. 100%.
You could read that shit between the lines if you were blind.
Yeah. See, my whole thing is I'm glad to see them doing a reset. I'm glad we're going to get something that's potentially fresh and like even just a different perspective. I would love to see something that's not from the perspective of a fucking Jedi again. I mean, I would love to see a show that maybe does focus on that conflict, but we see it from the perspective of like smugglers, bounty hunters, a wide variety of characters with different perspectives. Because I think that's one of the things that's been so great about The Mandalorian is we're exploring this world that we're all so familiar with from a brand new perspective we've never seen before.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's like, one of the issues with Star Wars, like the main flagship movies, like the numbered movies, is you have these kind of boring, predictable storylines because there's so much fucking money tied up in them that they don't want to take any risks.
Right.
So I think that Star Wars, even before, the handoff to Disney, has shined in those like sub stories. And obviously the Old Republic, or Knights of the Old Republic rather, were excellent games. You have like this whole series of books of breakoffs, like people swear by the pre-Disney sale Boba Fett novels.
Yeah, they were excellent.
There's not much on the line for those writers. You understand what I'm saying? In comparison to, Star Wars 10, there's not much on the line. So they can really like flesh out and hyperfixate on sort of less explored facets of the universe. Right. So I'm pumped for it. I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah, I mean, the real key there with any Star Wars thing is to flesh out the universe. So if it's a big narrative fuck up, interconnected like spiderweb, take the time to do what some might consider more boring story arcs to flesh out characters in a way that gives them some kind of narrative impact, so that when you actually do those big moments, you give a shit, because the only way it'll succeed is if they give us characters that we actually are invested in some manner. But the 200 years thing is also kind of worrying to me. I know I'm the eternal optimist of the group, but like, it's only 200 years. So Yoda's around and he's a Jedi, and he's still a fairly well-trained Jedi. I mean, what was he, 800 or 900 when he died?
Yeah,
so
900, I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's having a midlife crisis right about now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, gosh.
He's driving a Corvette, banging a young, Twilight.
He's going home at night and he's going, dick will not rise.
He's got a fucking toupee, and he's not convincing anyone with that fucking toupee.
It
doesn't match his skin tone at all.
Fighting that erectile dysfunction.
No, I actually think, some of the things with like, you have the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic, which take place, I don't know, thousands of years before. And things are like largely the same. Yeah. Like you have this super technologically advanced galaxy. And so it's like, I guess at some point you hit a wall, and what else can you really do? There are differences, but it's not a whole lot.
No, this isn't an R2 unit. It's R1. There's a whole generation before on these bad boys. They only switch generations every like 1,000 years because it doesn't fucking matter.
So I don't think it's really going to, I think they could have said 800 years until like none of those numbers mean anything at this point. So in any event, I think they're just trying to say like, it's not what we've seen before. It's in a time period we haven't seen. So I don't know. I think you could do some cool shit with that. And my understanding is the reason that they picked that time was from that article that you linked, was that it takes place around some event where there was like a huge freight in hyperspace
that blew apart.
That something happened, and now all the pieces of this freighter are like flying through hyperspace, just popping up in different places.
I'm glad you brought it up, because that's actually a really cool backdrop to the entire setting that I failed to mention. So bad hosting duties, but they're like, these pieces can go anywhere. Like they could end up on core worlds and cause devastation, or they could hit these outer rim planets. So it's interesting to see. And look, I mean, they're literally propping up the MacGuffin and going, look, we can throw this wherever the fuck we want to. You know what I mean? There's a big battle and the heroes are losing, but space debris. Yeah. What are you going to do, buddy? Saved everybody's time.
Oh, man, a Deus Ex Machina. Who saw that coming?
Oh, it split up the platform they're on perfectly in the middle so the heroes can escape?
If they do that one more fucking time, I'm done with Star Wars. One more fucking time. And also, I just want to say, if for some reason R2-D2 appears 200 years before the events of The Phantom Menace, I fucking quit.
Of course he's showing up, bro. They're still in the same product cycle. I told you. All right, so that's our thoughts on that. That High Republic was announced, I think, 6 months or so ago, or somewhere around that. It's been quite a bit, but these were some new details we came out with. So I think that's going to be coming out pretty shortly. The next topic makes me real sad, but I know that Scott in particular doesn't seem to give too much of a shit. The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance series on Netflix has not been renewed for a second season.
It's not just Scott.
Oh no, both of you.
All right, I'm gonna preface this by saying that I did love the Dark Crystal as a child. I'm not a soulless, emotionless robot.
I mean, agreed. I think Derek.
Yeah, apparently I am then.
Oh, okay.
Dude, like there were so many incredible characters, and the puppetry was great. And as a little kid, you don't even put two and two together. That's a bunch of people doing that. You're like 5 years old, 6 years old. You're just blown away by the visuals.
Right.
Yeah. But it was a great story. Like everything about it was at its time iconic. I think it wasn't received as well as it should have been, or as well as they expected at the time. But it was just a great movie.
Yeah.
The problem is I don't care about what happened 100 years before that because I already saw how it ends. It's the same thing with like the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Unless I'm like really invested in that world and I'm a diehard, I'm not really maybe interested in the intricacies of how things played out if I already know the end result. And nobody is that into the fucking Dark Crystal, man. That's why it's canceled. That's why it's done.
Fucking cold-blooded. So
I'm sorry.
I think at least a solid 30 to 40% of my interest in watching that show was the like marvel of watching it and going like, oh shit, like how do they do that? Like that's badass. And if you've seen any of the behind the scenes stuff, which I did, because guess what? I do fucking like Dark Crystal a whole lot. It was very impressive. I mean, some of the shit it's a spectacle. It's like literally movie magic. These puppeteers and stuff are controlling all these characters. And I didn't think I was gonna care about them explaining all the factions. And to be honest with you, once I realized what the series was doing, I was like, okay, well, I might not make it through. But as they sort of unveiled different factions, and I don't know, I just stuck with it, and it ended up being a really fun ride that they did set up for a season 2. I thought that was going to be a one-off when I watched it. I thought, okay, cool, it's a little prequel series, it's like a little mini series, that's it. But no, they propped it up for a season 2, and so it's a little extra disappointing to me that they're not going to have it. But it sounds like it's almost exclusively due to the fact that, surprise, all those puppeteers and stuff, very expensive.
Yeah.
Very, very expensive.
And that's like, I missed out on watching it when I was like young. And I think that there are a lot of things out there that like Scott said it, when you're watching it as a kid, you're not like putting the pieces together and seeing that there's like people behind the set or, whatever the case may be with special effects. There's like a magic to that when you see that as a kid.
Yeah.
Because you're not thinking about it critically. When you watch it when you're like 14, which is when I first saw the Dark Crystal, it just seemed like a bunch of fucking grown men playing with puppets. And it was like really hard. I had all these, I'm a teenager. Like I have all these emotions I've never encountered before. Like nothing is cool enough for me.
I can't
and
coom
so
to
there's
anything
no way
here.
for me to enjoy.
There's not a single thing I can jerk off to in this entire thing. I don't like it.
I'm trying to pull one out, but I can't. Fuck this. And I'm bitter to this day. So I'm not shitting on you guys for liking it, for the same reason I wouldn't expect you to shit on me for liking something as a 5-6-year-old, whatever. But so like when they announced that they were doing the TV show, I was like, does anybody even fucking care about this? Like, I guess assumed that everybody watched it when they were 14, 15 years old and felt the same way. But, so I never even watched it. I always like, it's one of those things in the back of my head. I'm like, eventually I will, but I haven't.
Right. Very important question. How old were you when you saw The Labyrinth, and did you like The Labyrinth?
Oh, I don't know. Single digits, like 4 or 5. And of course I love The Labyrinth. David Bowie is in it.
Okay. Well, I had a joke set up and it's not going to work now because you were too young. So I'm moving right along.
All I can say,
sorry for robbing you of that.
It's okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
You like
it felt very drab to me. Like, have you ever watched Jim Henson's funeral?
No.
Have you ever heard Fozzie Bear cry? Like fucking Frank Oz crying in characters as Fozzie Bear?
No.
At Jim Henson's funeral?
But this is morbidly interesting.
Yeah. No, it's honestly like I had somebody one time at the bar when I was working suggest that I watch it, and out of curiosity, morbid curiosity, I did. And it's moving, depressing, and it's to me it's a way better experience than I had watching the Dark Crystal miniseries or like. And anytime I have the desire to watch that show, I think I'll just watch Jim Henson's funeral again because it's great.
It sounds like some kind of weird lucid dream concept that I never in a million years.
It's honestly beautiful. Like I know it sounds like such a fucked up thing to say, but Jim Henson's funeral I think is one of the most incredible things I've ever watched.
It's like
I'm doing it as soon as we're done.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Yeah, like it's fucked up, man. Like it's sad. Like you're gonna cry. I cried.
We're gonna have to make a segment next week where Derek and I give our thoughts on watching it.
Just cry.
It's 2.5 hours of positive masculinity. If you have anything you're retaining, anything that you can't let out, like you're just too balled up. You were raised Irish Catholic like myself. You can't get a good cry in. Jim Henson's funeral, about 45 minutes in, Niagara Falls, son. Niagara fucking Falls.
I just can't get it. It literally sounds like I woke up and I'm like, oh, I got to write this down in my dream journal. Jim Henson dies. Jim Henson dies. All of his friends crying in character. Cue Fozzie Bear. Waka waka. I can't.
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it,
dude. I can't. I'm so excited to go watch it.
Yeah, you need to. It's a must see.
So
Everybody.
Dark Crystal Age of Resistance season 2 is canceled. moving right along. Oh boy, we don't often have unanimous decisions here, but there's a trailer for a new show coming out called Hellstrom, and oh my god, does this show look like a bag of shit on fire? That's all I can say about it. Scott, how'd you feel?
Yeah, it looks like it looks like TV show, the TV show. It just looks like the same recycled formula again and again and again is just being used again.
Yeah.
There's not even enough in it for me to say anything. It really just was just a flaccid dick waving in front of my face the entire time.
It's like those old music compilations that apparently they still make. Like now, that's what I call music.
Yes, they do still make them.
It's that version of like one note, like drab, like these just like this mindless action shorts where it's like there's not enough time for any real character development except for like in the heat of battle they like confide in each other for no fucking reason because when you're reloading a gun you're gonna tell somebody about your childhood trauma naturally.
Yeah.
So you do understand why I hate the MCU.
It's not the same.
Okay.
No, it just looks to me like Vin Diesel wrote Van Helsing. You know what I mean? Like
very much
shit.
so.
Yeah.
The tagline that came into my head when I was watching it was "This is flea market Constantine." Like they're
yeah. They rounded up a random 14-year-old off of like outside of a mall smoking his mom's cigarettes or something. They paid him to stop jerking off for 15 minutes and just pen a rough draft for them. And then I think a couple of desperate hack writers who just really want to not live at their parents' house anymore took hold of it.
As you do,
Yeah.
Also, what's the premise of the show? Did anybody get that from the trailer? What's happening?
Their mom's possessed by a demon, but they're demon hunters. But the demon in their mom's too powerful, so they just hunt other demons.
Right.
That was what I got.
From the trailer, I got absolutely nothing. But I like absolutely nothing. But I did look it up to see what it was about, and I'm just gonna. I don't give a shit. I'm not even gonna read it. It doesn't even deserve like the time of day. Damon and Anna Hellstrom, their brother and sister, the children of a powerful serial killer, hunt the worst of humanity. That's the premise of the show.
Jesus Christ.
So I mean,
surprised it's not on the CW.
And you know how you can tell it's not because actually cinematography is pretty damn good in the trailer. I gotta give it to him.
It does look like it's shot beautiful.
It's
going to be the fucking
well
shame of it. Yeah. Maybe we can watch it on mute. You know what I mean? Like,
I'd
we
watch
just put the subtitles on, watch it on mute.
That's the like worst backhanded comment. Like, I'll watch that on mute. We can totally watch that on mute.
It looks great.
You guys want to get together and put that on and not listen? I'm totally
that
down
looks
for that.
like something I'd watch if I couldn't hear it or know what was going on whatsoever in any capacity.
We could Mystery Science Theater 3000 that whole show.
Oh God,
honestly,
yes.
yeah. But it just looked like the trailer made look like all those like. Remember like back when you had the family computer and they had all those gorgeous stills, side-scrolling stills of undersea, like the fish would go by. It looked like that to me. It was like, oh, that's a neat looking. But like I didn't give it the time of day at all because nothing important was going to happen on that screen, and I knew it.
That's fine. That's a fair assessment.
Yeah,
fair play.
All right, moving right along because fuck that show. By the way, if you are interested in that show and you disagree with us, it comes out October 16th, I do believe. So pretty close, like two weeks and some change. Moving right along, Zack Snyder planning to shoot new Justice League scenes. So I'm only bringing this up. We've talked privately about the Snyderverse and in episodes that may or may not exist and may or may not ever see the light of day for future bonus content. We've talked all about that. We're not going to dive into Snyderverse thoughts and hopes and dreams and fucking praying that they don't fuck it up a second time around. But we thought it was actually announced that he was not shooting additional stuff. So that's the only reason I bring it up. They actually said like he's going to work with what he's got. They're just remastering, recutting, finishing visual effects on some things. He's got a ton of footage. Don't worry about it. He can cut it together. And now we're seeing he's going to shoot some extra stuff. So what do you guys think?
I think, at an absolute minimum, and let me preface this by saying that I do love Zack Snyder. I don't think that he's ever written a story that was like super engaging, but I think he makes enjoyable movies. I think that they look great. And they generally, flow well. And so I do. I think that he knows what he's good at and sticks to that. And I can appreciate the fuck out of that. That being said, I think at an absolute minimum, we had talked about on the previous episode that doesn't exist, that in the middle of filming Justice League, his daughter killed herself. And so he tried to stick around and he couldn't. So he left and then Joss came in and finished it up for him. I think at an absolute minimum, he should have an opportunity to sort of complete his vision, especially when you have so many people who are campaigning for it and have been for fucking years. So I think it's super exciting that he's reshooting scenes and sort of getting the band back together. I'm all for it. I thought that the Justice League, when it released, was like not the worst thing that ever happened in history, but it was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad.
And so I'd like to see it go. I don't think there's anything you could do with that that's going to make it a 10 out of 10 or even a 9 out of 10. But I'd like to see it get up into the like 7, 8 range. I think he could do that, and the reshoots would help with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'd definitely be happy with it. Editor's note: his daughter's name is Autumn. I looked it up just to verify, but
Autumn.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you, Scott?
I completely agree. We talked about it again, like in episodes that may or may not exist.
Schrodinger's episodes, we'll refer to them.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's somewhere in a warehouse full of crates up next to the Ark of the Covenant. There are maybe a few episodes where my audio is almost unlistenable.
Maybe they're in the shitty warehouse from Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh God, I could rip on that for the rest of this entire episode. Let's not fucking do that. No, but everyone was very harsh with Zack Snyder after BVS, Batman vs Superman, and he kind of got dragged even during filming of Justice League for his tone being too dark. He
absolutely did.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is like that's like DC. The DC EU should not be the MCU. There's a very big difference, a drastic contrast between what Marvel has done with comic books and what DC has done.
Right.
Mm-hmm. They do have similar narratives, like similar structures to their stories, but like I think Snyder really has been killing it with everything he's been doing, like visually at least. And we've talked about before how he's great at creating those big iconic moments. Yeah. The dialogue may not always be, Tarantino-esque,
or even there at all.
or even coherent. But like he deserves a fair shot to at least finish. If he's done with it after this, great. He deserves to be able to put the final nail in the coffin, right. or put that that trophy up on the wall, that plaque up on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
DCEU daddy,
Yeah, even if it's
that DCEU Father of the Year award up there, because he really put a lot of time of his life into this, and people just shit all over him, and it seems like a lot of it was just malice, just like not like just hating on it to hate on it, based on a few things that were maybe off, but the overall package wasn't the train wreck it was described.
There definitely was a bandwagoning, especially after BVS came out, and to your point, I mean. He wanted to have Superman in a black suit, and again, this is defense of him, but it's also just what he said several times. He's said several times, he's like, I wanted to make a black suit Superman because in the comic books, because he's always very, very adherent to the source material. I mean, Watchmen was almost a page for page fucking recreation. He said in the comics he comes back in a black suit, so of course I want him to come back in a black suit, and there's a reason in the comic books for it. Which is that it helps him absorb sunlight and heal faster. And his original suit was damaged because he got stabbed through the fucking chest. So he was going to come back in a new black suit. And at the time, because it was, like you said, filming Justice League during the backlash of BVS, Warner Brothers stepped in and said, you're not making this darker again. You just did that and no one likes it. Fuck you. And they didn't even give him the budget to make the black suit. We've had this talk before. He literally decided he was going to put him in the red suit and then just color correct it later on because they wouldn't give it to him. So that's fucked up. But it is what it is. I agree. We all are on the same page, I think, about him being a visual director. And if he wants to put more pieces of the puzzle there visually, then I all for it. Do it up.
I also I had read that they're releasing it as a 4-episode type thing.
Four 1-hour episodes. Yep. Which is fucking crazy.
Which is excellent because Tarantino did that with fucking Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
His extended version of that movie, and it turned out excellent because it was a long movie to begin with.
Right.
And so you can break it up and not feel like you're just stopping at some weird point.
Right.
I don't know. I thought that was a good move. So I just found that out earlier today when I read the article. So I think that'll work well for it.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Moving along, these next two should be pretty quick. They're just little snippets. James Gunn and John Cena are teaming up for a Peacemaker series. So John Cena is playing Peacemaker. I already see the smirk, so I can't wait. John Cena is playing Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad from James Gunn coming out next year, I believe. And they're already announced a breakaway series with John Cena playing Peacemaker. It's going to be on HBO Max because they own everything now. So all the DC things all those breakoffs are going there. So Scott, how do you feel about that?
I am fucking floored.
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, because James Gunn, I think when it comes to team ups like this, he nails it.
Yeah, typically.
The biggest issue with the first Suicide Squad was, I feel like, just bad artistic choices, bad character choices, a bad narrative. Like seeing even the ridiculous cast of characters James Gunn has for the new Suicide Squad team up.
Right.
I'm excited about even the ones that look the shittiest and the most stupid, because he's gonna utilize them in a way where at least you're gonna get a really good laugh out of it.
Yeah.
He's really good at like introspection and kind of like making fun of the source material while also doing it justice.
Right.
Because I mean, who would ever think the Guardians of the Galaxy would be a household name? You know what I mean? Like no one knew who the fuck they were.
Yeah.
10 years ago or 8 years ago.
Right.
But the fact that he's already
Chris
singled
is
in,
like, well, someone did.
well, yeah. If that one person is listening, I'm sorry. Feel free to email us at thecynicalnerd.com and talk some shit.
It's okay. I accept your apology.
The fact that he's already zeroed in on a character that he thinks he can do a mini series on has me so excited, because like this guy's described as a douchebag Captain America, which I think Derek will say, oh, so it's Captain America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stealing his thunder.
Right out of my mouth.
Yeah, I can't let you have another free shot at the MCU right now. No, but the fact that he's already zoned it, like he already zeroed in, and he's this excited about the picture as a whole, that he's already raring to go and do another miniseries before he starts production on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I think it's a good sign. I think it's a testament to how well things have gone on set, to how well maybe like test screenings of certain parts of the footage have gone so far. I think he's really gonna knock it out of the park. And the idea of John Cena playing a dickhead with a butt chin, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, just cutting in before Derek put some thoughts on video. I am looking forward to it for almost the exact same reasons. So John Cena also, he hasn't done a ton of stuff that I've actually watched, but he's done a few comedies, and I thought he actually did okay in them as an actor. So yeah, if he's going to play dickhead douchebag Captain America in a series with James Gunn, who I from what I gathered from the article, HBO was like, hey, James Gunn, if you wanted to do a series based on any one of these, he goes, oh, I had an idea already for Peacemaker. You want to hear it? And that makes me excited, because it sounds like it's truly coming from like a place of passion for him. So I'm looking for it. Should be, if nothing else, it should be funny as shit.
Yeah, the only thing I don't know anything about Peacemaker, but I've said before about the MCU, like of all the films, which there's like 20 or 22 or something at this point, whatever it is, I feel like over half of them are bad, and then some are good, and then a couple of them are actually great. And you know, among the ones that I think are great is Guardians of the Galaxy. The first one, I thought the second one was like, it was good, but nothing really beyond that.
I'm actually on the same page with you there, by the way.
Yeah, anything that James Gunn does at this point, I'm interested in. I'm not like psyched for. I don't automatically think it's going to be like a fucking walk-off home run, but I think he did so well with the first one that at this point I'm kind of like interested in him to see what he does. So
yeah,
and I think John Cena is, like you said, in the comedies he's in, he kind of kills it a little bit. So yeah, those two things at once, you know, I think something good will come in.
Sign me up. Plus, it's going to be on Max, so if they want it to be rated R, it'll be rated R, which also gives them more leeway. But
I'd also read that before Alan Moore, when he was running Watchmen, before he was told he had to create all new characters, that Peacemaker was like basically who the comedian ended up becoming.
Yeah, exactly. That's really cool.
And the comedian is literally my favorite superhero, like comic book character of all time. So
nice.
Can you tell us why?
He's just great. That's why.
Okay.
Have anything to do with the name of the podcast?
I wasn't going to be like a dickhead, but I honestly would genuinely like to hear why.
No, he's just like actual like fucking peak cynicism, in the ugliest fucking way.
Yeah, that's true.
And he has an immeasurable amount of depth to him. They paint him like a dickhead because he is a dickhead. Right. He's a piece of shit, but they give him these weird sensitivities. Like when he showed up to fucking Malek's house crying his eyes out.
Right.
He's just, to me, he's like, a lot of villains become so, like comic book villains. Like they're corny, like, right. But like the villains who are fucking good you can relate to in some capacity, which we've spoke on about like Homelander in the past.
Right.
That's why I like him so much. He's a piece of shit, but you kind of get him at least in some capacity. Not that you like relate to him, like, yeah, I'll be there someday too, but like you understand why he feels the way that he feels.
Yeah,
which is the mark of any fucking great antagonist.
It's the reason why that graphic novel in particular is held up there as one of the best of all time. It's because even if you're going to make these people shitty or hard to read, you can see sort of where that personality comes from, where that pain comes from. You know, like you said, you see him. He's an absolute asshole. He kicks a pregnant Vietnamese woman in the stomach. Like, he's a giant bag of shit. And you're like, oh, well, he's also crying because, you know, he's got a daughter he doesn't talk to because he raped a woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's got all these complex layers. They might be moldy and disgusting layers, but they're all there, and it creates a much better picture of a character as opposed to like dickhead.
Yeah, you see, like, and they present to you the awful things that he does, and you think initially that you could never be that kind of person, but then you see those human moments, and you go like, oh fuck, like, you know, that's something I can relate to.
Yeah. So, I mean,
wow, that was way better than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to be honest. That was. I'm speechless.
I mean, we certainly veered off from Peacemaker to Watchmen, but I accept that, and I like. I
could talk about Watchmen for 10 episodes.
We'll have to have one of those too. I roll with the punches, and that was a fantastic addition. Last but not least, before we get into the main topics, Aldous Hodge has been cast in the Black Adam film as Hawkman.
Yeah. Okay. Uh-huh.
Wait, what? Who?
Aldous Hodge. Here's I don't care.
Yeah, I'm just reading off here. Like, other villains who may be joining Hawkman will be Atom Smasher, Dr. Fate, Cyclone. Like, these could all be characters from the fucking Tick. Like, I don't know who the hell any of these villains are. Chairface is gonna be there, guys. It's gonna be crazy. Like, who gives a flying fuck about any of these D-list DC villains?
Yeah, we're going from the comedian to fucking Hawkman.
Yeah, like it seems to me if you're like, Black Adam is a relatively well known in the DC,
right?
But not to the same caliber as any of the other movies they put out so far. Even Shazam, I would say, is more well known than Black Adam. Why wouldn't you cast a villain that at least has some brand recognition? Like, who the fuck gives a shit about Hawkman?
Well, so the thing is, like, Hawkman's actually rumored to be part of like the Justice Society of America, because obviously he can't go toe to toe with Justice League in this movie because they're still out there. We don't know what the fucking continuity is right now with these movies, but we're fairly safe to say that this Black Adam is in the same universe as our Zachary Levi Shazam, which was also a stupid movie, but fun, at least a little bit.
It was enjoyable.
It had some pretty bad shit in it, but for the most part,
it was definitely stupid. I agree with you there.
When you go into a DC movie with literally no expectations,
you can get surprised. Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't tell you how little of a shit I gave about Shazam. All I know is that Zachary Levi has pretty good comedic timing. And I figured it would be a good time.
Yeah, it was all right.
You hate it so much. You just don't want to argue with me.
I'm ready to get into our main topics of discussion because I'm very, very, very excited to talk about The Boys. We are currently on episode 6, and we are going to talk about episodes 5 and 6. And I hope someone knows what the fuck happened in 5 because I don't remember.
Same.
I do.
Okay, good.
I got you.
Well, then, do you want to do a little season? A little episode 5 recap?
Well, yeah.
Just covering
Homelander.
Homelander
is fucking with Maeve, obviously. You know, like, the script has had some Joss rewrites, if you guys remember.
That was a good shot across the bow at Joss Whedon.
Where like Maeve has her whole like monologue where I'm like you, I'm gay. Like, she looks at the camera cringy. Like, because again, that's when you have those fucking conversations. Is like right when everything's about to go to shit. Homelander is also caught on film in somewhere in the Middle East. And there's some casualties. He haphazardly kills another soup. And kills an innocent kid in the process. And I think some of the big what the fuck moments in that episode include Kikyo with the face rip doing her her slow mo face rip doing the she's basically a freelance like killer for hire now. She's like a mercenary.
That's what she was doing.
And we had that crazy moment where Homelander is trying to calm the crowd, and I thought it was actually happening in real time. He has that murder fantasy where he just mows down like 500 people.
So great.
No, that's the best part about it is that like you genuinely believe that that's happening.
Yeah, and I thought shit was
because
popping
he's
off.
that fucked up that you you think he would actually do
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And Ron and I were like freaking out when we were watching, like, holy shit. And then it like obviously snaps back and it's like, oh, okay, sure. But while it was happening, you're like, no, that totally is believable. That's something he would absolutely do.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why he's a fucking A1 antagonist, man.
Yes.
You never know what this fucking guy.
Yeah, no, I literally thought I was watching the breaking point happening in front of me. I was like, oh, it's right now. He's just going to go start murdering everybody. He's a villain now. So a couple notes on those points that you brought up. The face ripping thing where she's fucking up and doing contracts. That was cool. I mean, it seems like she's trying to, I don't know, get away from the pain of losing her brother, which, can make sense. The other point about killing the kid, I noticed the kid casualty, even though I didn't rewatch 5 this week, he had a Lamplighter shirt on, which is interesting that we're doing both of these at the same time because Lamplighter is brought in spotlight very well in this episode. So there's a little bit of foreshadowing there if you caught it. I like that. So the end of episode 5 was Stormfront and Homelander hooking up and having super sex.
We had legit just talked about how they don't show sex scenes. And we were like praising them for it. Like they're always really like low key and subtle. And then you just get that thing where like she shoves his head down to her muff and it sounds like someone's dropping an iron beam on the floor.
Wait, it was the weirdest sex scene that ever happened, and literally a week prior, like we were, and that's what I was thinking when we were watching it. Like I was just giving them props for not showing sex scenes, and now the fucking weirdest sex scene in the history of time is happening before my eyes.
It's almost like Kevin Smith was talking to fucking Jay Muse in front of Stan Lee about how he wants superheroes to have sex, and someone was like drawing it in the background. Like that's the sex scene. They're like, and then she's gonna push his head down there. It's gonna sound like a belt sander's going off.
But then she says, "Laser my tits."
Yeah.
So he throws her into a wall.
Dude, that's such a Kevin Smith line. I love you, Kevin Smith, but come on,
be a pussy. Laser my tits. Like, whoa. All right.
I mean, and you literally saw, I'm sorry to jump in front, Scott, but you literally saw like the excitement in Homelander's eyes when he realizes that there's someone he can fuck up and not kill them so that he could do it more than once.
Yeah.
It was pretty exciting.
So episode 6, I have some thoughts about it. I don't know how you guys felt about it.
Okay.
It's historically the first episode of this show that there was like a lot of shit I didn't like about it.
Really?
Same.
Okay,
same,
both of you.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I was gonna let you guys list off like the elements you didn't like. So I just because mine's 3 seconds long, and of course, Eternal Optimist likes everything. I found it cool. I thought it was a cool expansion of the world that we're in, and I felt like okay. I mean, they do have to start slowly widening this up to go. What's the grand plan? Like, is it just going to be Butcher and the guys like trying to fuck up Homelander the entire time and this newcomer, or is there something else at play? And I don't know. I genuinely actually did kind of like most of it. I don't actually remember, and nothing stuck out to me that I went, fuck that.
I said, oh, fuck that a few times audibly watching it. I'm like, do you want to go first? Or do you want to, let's just maybe go back and forth. You list one, I'll list one.
Yeah. Let me lead this one off. The theme of this episode was two people who don't have a lot in common who realize they have a lot in common. You had Frenchie and Lamplighter who like bonded. You had Butcher and Starlight who realized, like had this bonding moment. And then you had Homelander and Stormfront who had this bonding moment. And I feel like when your bar is high, like I can appreciate that they wanted to do something that hit, right? But when you want to do something that hits, it has to fucking make sense. There's no reason for me, the viewer, to want to see Frenchie, the guy who's hell-bent on killing Soups, and the Soup who killed the people that made him all fucked up, to like connect on some level. It just felt forced. Same thing, Butcher and Starlight. Like it just felt unnecessary. It felt fucking vestigial. Like what was the purpose of it? They just wanted this like touching moment for no fucking reason. There were so many points throughout the episode that felt like I was watching fucking House. Oh, I guess we do have more in common than we thought. Like, dude, I'm watching the fucking Boys. Like, what the fuck are you talking? I don't know. None of those moments landed for me. And I could see how they would want to bridge the gap between two characters who are kind of distant from one another. But I feel like none of those were done in a way that felt natural in any capacity whatsoever.
100% agree. The lamplighter thing, man, like that, like I can understand them coming together because they had no choice but to come together to survive. You know what I mean? Like that should have been their only motivation. We didn't need that moment. Been it. Yeah, we didn't need that moment. Like I get why they did it because they want to streamline. They want to have lamplighter probably join the boys. It's probably the arc's probably going to become them.
No, they want Sean Ashmore because he wasn't cheap. They want to keep him around.
Yeah. No, but the thing is that they're kind of building this team of supes, like to fight the bad supes. It's kind of like they're building their own Justice League or their own Avengers, essentially, in this universe. And arguably, we could say that Butcher is maybe Hawkeye, unfortunately for him, because he doesn't have really anything besides an attitude and a sniper rifle. But no, like it's
got him.
The lamplighter part. What like I was a little like when Starlight says, I guess he's just too good for both of us, huh? I'm like, shut the fuck up. It
was terrible. That's what I'm saying. Episode of House.
I would,
but my
Full House. Sorry, House, not House.
My biggest problem was though, is that Homelander is a lot of things. He is a sociopath. He is a monster. He is not. We have no indication that he is an Aryan or a bigot or any of those things yet. So when she drops all that shit on him, his first and like, you could be our Jesus, like you could be our the leader of our new Reich, like all this shit. He's just like, well, the pussy's good. Like, yeah, all right, like to me it didn't land. It felt like everything happened too quickly. It's like Revenge of the Sith. It's like, oh well, we have 20 minutes to do everything else that's left. So let's, instead of compartmentalizing things and building to them, let's just spitball. What is it? Spitfire round or whatever the fuck you say. Yeah.
So I would like to amend some earlier thoughts. Looking back at those, so here's the thing, and I don't know why my brain glossed over them. Overall, I did enjoy the episode, but the writing. So I like the idea of Butcher and Starlight at least coming to an agreement. As far as like, okay, you're not as bad as I fucking thought you were. But the dialogue there was hot garbage. It was a dumpster fire.
So bad.
And hearing you say it back to me, I was like, oh, that was really bad. But the moment for me was fine. But all that you could accomplish, I think, everything they wanted to do with, like, I don't know, like a knowing glance. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm not going to fucking try to kill you every time you turn around now. Because he was pointing that sniper rifle right at her fucking head for quite a bit. Same on both points. I think the lamplighter teaming up thing with them was fine. I think once they got out, obviously they're trying to write him in, which is why they didn't do it. But I think once they got out, Frenchie would have just shot him in the fucking head. Or the CIA woman would have. I agree there. Also, is it a little on the nose that they cast the guy that played Iceman to play Lamplighter?
I know, right?
Is that? It's obviously
like,
a little.
Are you bitter for not being cast as Pyro or something?
Yeah, that's hilarious. But the Aryan thing at the end, the whole Nazi twist or whatever, we all knew she was going to be a Nazi anyway because we had some knowledge of her character in the graphic novel. That one didn't come off to me as a stretch goal, if only because Homelander's been such a giant bag of dicks for such a long time that you said like he didn't think he was a bigot. I absolutely thought he was a fucking bigot and a giant piece of shit this whole time. So to me, just taking that step over the line and him kind of realize his power fantasy, because that's all he fucking wants at the end of the day. It's for everybody to bow down. Yeah. So however he gets there, I'm like, okay,
No, that's fair. I think he's been a nationalist.
He said
I never really thought of him as like a Nazi.
He said some
just really a fine line.
He has said some off-color shit to A-Train before, like not blatantly racist, but pretty shitty. You know what I mean?
And, right.
And in episode 5, now that you mention it, like a callback, he does say like, "What? They're all starving to death, but one of them has a cell phone."
Right?
So like,
he's
Like there is a little bit of foreshadowing for that, but it to me did still feel like it happened too quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, it's a fair.
But he is a dude who we've seen in the past can be manipulated.
Absolutely,
very easily. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, can we take an already fucked up person and just kind of tilt them, 15 degrees to the right?
Yeah,
and then they're an Aryan. Yeah, it's crazy. So can we talk about
Thanks.
Can we talk about a few moments that we loved from this episode?
Go ahead,
because there's definitely at least a few.
Oh yeah. Lead us off, Scotty.
I mean, the first one obviously we have to acknowledge is the head crush in the alleyway, followed by the makeout sesh with the dude's blood on their
Oh,
faces.
The opening scene
yeah.
of this episode, I was like, it was another one of those. Oh my fucking god! Like, yes, boys. Like this show is so good.
It was the natural born killers equivalent of the boys.
Like they're making out, and he's literally got his, and he's crushing his skull slowly, and you're like, oh my god, Homelander! I knew you were a fucking piece of shit, but you're constantly showing it to me.
And he's so polite. Like, can you just call the cops, please?
Yeah. Please, sir, I really need the police. That opening was fantastic. The superhero, I don't know what you call him. One of the people in the facility who was just blowing people up was fucking badass. Because I mean, right, like crushing. Everybody's horrified of this superhero.
Oh, the chick.
Yeah. Cindy?
Oh, 11?
Yeah.
That was like,
I mean,
was
that
11?
was basically 11.
Dude, I'm telling, that was 100% a fucking reference to Akira. I
Okay,
really think it was.
I can see it.
It's like nearly shot for shot, breaks out, cops shoot her, and she fucking just explodes them everywhere. It was excellent.
It's pretty great.
I think it was an Akira nod.
Could have been. What else? What else stood up?
The man, the patient at the soup detention center who had an elongated tentacle-like cock, an uncircumcised cock.
About that?
Fuck.
Same. That broke. That literally, his dick breaks through a window and starts strangling. Who was it strangling? It wasn't Frenchie.
MM. Mother's Milk.
Oh, MM. Yeah.
That's a dude from the original. I'm trying to look it up his name.
Yeah, no,
right
okay.
now.
I don't want to know his official name because if it's not Trouser Snake, then they fucked up. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no other answer.
TS went for MM, man. He went hard for him.
Oh, Love Sausage.
Love Sausage?
Yeah, in the comic book. Yeah, he's a Russian dude.
Oh, they actually mentioned that to him because I think someone said like the sausage on him or some shit like that. The look on MM's face when he realized what it was.
I know. Yes.
For a split second, it comes through the window, and I was like, "Is that a giant earthworm?" It's got its little hoodie up.
So what you're saying is uncircumcised penises are gross and dirty.
I mean,
wait to divide the listeners on the first fucking episode.
Yeah, wow.
It's hard to clean underneath all that. You know what I mean? You gotta. He needs like 4 people to help him wash it.
Yeah, sorry to tell you, if you're on Team Shmegma, you got to get the fuck out of the podcast. You're fucking
be gone, Shmegs.
Little bacon and Shmegs.
Fucking disgusting. So you guys are thinking overall a couple missteps for you both as far as execution, and I again hearing you talk about it, 100% agree with them.
I just like to say,
Scott's still crying.
Even bacon and Shmegs? Do you still agree with bacon and Shmegs?
Can we please all agree now that the title of episode 1 is going to be Bacon and Shmegs?
either that or Shmeg Ryan.
Oh no, we've killed Scott.
I'll go Shmeg Ryan. I just need a proper spelling on Shmeg, please. We'll get it knocked out later. All right, moving along. Our next topic to calm Scott down is that, as we talked about earlier, out of the blue, it seems like Microsoft has gone ahead and just thrown their big old Shmeg Ryan around and purchased Bethesda. So they turned into Love Sausage, grabbed Scott Howard by the neck. Is it Todd Howard or Scott Howard? Todd Howard. Grabbed him by the neck and pulled him under their fucking corporate umbrella. So now Microsoft owns Elder Scrolls and all the other shit I can't think of off the top of my head. What do you guys think about it? I know how Scott feels about this. I think I know.
I'm gonna let somebody else go first because mine's gonna be very long-winded. Eventually, you're just gonna tell me to shut up because I could complain for probably a half hour about this.
Okay, fair enough.
Mine's not too long. I actually I'm actually open to it. I think that there's a lot of shit with I know why they did it. Let me start with that. Actually, they did it because PlayStation is getting all their IPs back. They fucked up with PS3, charged way too much at launch. They had to sell all their IPs.
Right.
Now they're getting them back. And now, like, the hardware of the PS5 is way better than what is it even called? The Series X or something? It's the worst name in the history of naming.
Yeah, it's literally the same name as the console they have now, but they changed a word.
Yeah.
It's just
so
the worst.
You see what happened?
Everything about
finally shut down the AIM servers, and they were able to reclaim their Xbox Series X name from there. So now, there's like little X's and big X's. It's there might be a new Vin Diesel XXX movie somewhere in the title. I'm not sure. It hasn't been found yet.
Can you just imagine all the boomers that are accidentally buying like Xbox One X's instead of the Series X right now?
There was a report that they pre-ordered the wrong things because of the same title. There was literally a meme of, it was like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Xbox, blah, 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 fuckface Xbox. You know what I mean? Like, anyway.
Xbox XXX.
Sorry, Derek, cut you off.
With the Xbox XXX, Christy Mack actually delivers to your house, and then, well, I don't know. Maybe she sucks your dick or something. I don't know. I
didn't think that
really lost.
No. I got hit with that bit, and I thought about how bad she got beat up. I was like, that poor girl.
I knew that's what was happening.
Yeah, like that poor girl's been through a lot. I don't want to.
Was he about to say that she shows up with the Xbox and then you punch her? Because that would be really mean.
No, God no.
I was like, let's see how demented he's going to get with this reference.
No.
But anyway, I know they had to do something big. They had to make a big move, so they bought an entire company, and they're going to make them all exclusives, of course, other than the ones that have already been announced.
Which is fine for us PC players because we're still going to get to play them.
Because either way, we're fine. Yeah, exactly. It changes nothing in my. That's what I was going to say. It changes nothing in my position because it's all the shit is going to be on PC anyway.
Right.
So who cares? But I get why they did it, and I feel like it's the same thing when you passed Star Wars from Lucas to Disney. Obviously, the end result a lot of people are unhappy with, but they were unhappy to begin with.
It's true.
So, like, something different is not going to be the worst thing in the world, I don't think. And with a lot of the studios, they're retaining the teams and retaining the vision, like Elder Scrolls Online. If you still play that for some fucking reason, they've announced that they're not changing anything whatsoever about it. So I don't know. Maybe the things that work, they'll keep them working, and the things that don't work, they'll make them better.
No, I literally think Microsoft just slapped down that, by the way, the price tag of $7.5 billion in order to go.
Yeah, more expensive than Star Wars.
Yeah, they were basically going, we need more IPs because ours are dated and old, and we haven't thought of anything fresh and new game wise in quite some time. And I'm not trying to be a piece of shit about it, but like, I'm so over Halo, I can't even describe how much I don't give a shit about Infinite. And then, so now they have Doom, Fallout, Elder Scrolls. I mean, all the IPs there, and the latest Doom was fucking great. The new Starfield game,
so good,
that's coming out from Bethesda, which I was pretty interested in. The Prey series, Evil Within. I mean, Wolfenstein. All these have been pretty good successes recently. So they just wanted more IPs, but that's basically fucking it. And now here's Scott with how much he hates Microsoft.
Well, I think like when you see a move like this, I think it's kind of like indicative of like the panic that Microsoft is having right now, because you saw it with Mixer. You saw them buy up these big, branded streamers, dropping millions and millions instead of investing in the infrastructure of their site. Instead of investing in community events, instead of doing outreach, instead of doing advertising. Imagine how much advertising $30 million could have bought on Nickelodeon, on Cartoon Network. You know what I mean? Like it's my problem is with the impulse buying is what it is. When I see them do this, my first thought was, honestly, like what great, like you guys need to be the ones who have the solo IP for Skyrim on a third fucking console generation in a row. I read into it more, and I think what they want to do is they're still going to be releasing a lot of their IPs that were promised to PlayStation on PlayStation.
Yeah,
a lot of things will still be cross-platform, because for Christ's sake, like how many times has Skyrim been ported? People play it on Switch 8-10 years later still.
Yeah.
And if they own that IP, they make all that money. So for them to have that as an exclusive would be counterintuitive. It would honestly demolish their sales compared to what they could be selling if it was cross-plat.
Right.
But when I see them even list the Evil Within, I scoff as a horror fan so fucking hard, because that series is dead. Like Bethesda did not follow through with the DLC they were supposed to. There's been no word of a third game. So why are you going to brag about a series that's dead in the water? That's like Konami being like, remember Silent Hill? Huh? Remember that?
Yeah.
Fucking give us more or shut the fuck up.
That's largely the same thing with Fuck.
Right.
Fuck.
Right. Fuck. All right. Well, you
Yeah,
can
please.
think about it. And were you finished with are you still?
Oh, I can go on, but it's really your call. Depending on what our time is like right now and how much more time we have to go.
We're cresting about an hour, and we have two real topics to discuss: a trailer and the Amazon gaming service.
Oh, it was Doom. Sorry, I'm back. I got it. Doom. It's back.
And we're back.
Even Bethesda itself, like, obviously they publish Doom, but like they have very little to actually do with it. Like whatever the sub studio was that was involved with that is the real. That's who really fleshed out that vision.
Right.
So like, I see what you're saying. We're like, they buy something up and be like, oh, we're going to continue this series. It's like, well, even the person that you just bought really didn't have a whole lot to do with that.
It's software, right? I think
it's software. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, so, fuck Microsoft, but hopefully Bethesda continues to make some quality series.
I would just like to see them maybe, release a sequel to Skyrim sometime before, your kids have kids.
Well, we know they're working on it, right? So who knows? I mean, how far?
Yeah, but Rockstar's been working on GTA 6 for 10 years, too. Well, we still have to get the third console generation of that fucking game, too.
I feel like Rocksteady releases games so slowly because they're they're literally over the cow's udders, just milking every last fucking drop that they can. Yeah. They're like, DLC. They milk very angrily.
What I would say, though, in defense of Rockstar over like what Bethesda does, Bethesda has, again, like re-released the game again and again and again. And again, now you can monitor on console.
It's a meme. Well, it's literally a meme.
Yeah, it's become a running joke now. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we see Skyrim ported on the PS6 as well. Like no fucking shit. That game is going to be timeless because they're not going to let it fucking die. Like it's, yeah. But at least with Rockstar, you have them, whether you like it or not, you have them releasing free content since day one, and still like 8 years later, like there's new races, there's new series. There's constantly something new to do if you give a shit about it. If you don't, I get it. It's a game that's very easy to get burnt out on. But there's always something new there every month or so if you are, someone who's still playing it, still active in the community.
Cool.
It's very much PP time right now.
PP time?
And I'm going to PP.
Okay.
But I will be back.
All right, that's fine. We'll start talking about the next thing because I know he's just going to say he doesn't like it anyway. Also, can we just talk about a minute here how Derek has the bladder of a small child? How do you feel about the size of Derek's bladder?
I think we need to invest in like a chamber pot for him, like his old medieval times. We just buy him like a giant, like gold gilded vase that he can slide his massive hog into under the desk, and then just mute the mic and pee.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally down for it. It'll sit right by the desk.
Truck drivers do it. Like everyone in the Victorian times did it. Like you didn't walk down the hall and piss out a window. You just peed in a jar in your room, and then your poor servants had to carry it out to the window and throw it.
Right. I mean, look, Derek, we're not asking you to shit on stream, on camera.
Yeah,
we want you to go do that before stream, but you can at least take one for the team and pee while we're recording.
Yeah. Or just go in the chair, man. Put some saran wrap down. Just go where you're sitting.
Put some saran wrap down and like a hospital bucket underneath.
Like a bedpan.
You catch as much as you can and you mop up the rest later, okay? Because I need that level of commitment there.
You guys have those nice hardwood floors for a reason. That's all I'm saying.
So we have two pieces of news left, and like I said, the one we can start talking about because I'm sure he's gonna fucking hate it, which is the WandaVision trailer. Yeah, I really actually don't know how you feel about it because we haven't talked about it. I know exactly how interested I am, and the answer's somewhere in the middle. Oh, hey, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, much better now.
Very good.
If you get any packages from Amazon in the next few days, just open them. Don't ask questions. Yeah. Just open them.
Open them. Follow the instructions.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I will. I mean, this sounds fun. So why would I not play along?
Actually, let's save that for last, because in the interest of keeping segments that are related close by, we can jump right into the Amazon gaming service. More gaming industry news. So Amazon is launching, a quick introduction, a gaming service called Luna. I mean, honestly, it's just another cloud gaming service to me. The only thing that stood out to me at all was the controller. They're releasing their own controller, as most of these services have been. Stadia did it. And the reason for that is it's called Cloud Direct technology, but it's actually kind of a neat concept. So the controller itself connects directly to Amazon's custom game servers It reduces round trip latency by 17 to 30 milliseconds versus even a local Bluetooth connection. And what's important about that is the name of the game with these new cloud streaming services is latency. So I was actually in the beta for Stadia before it came out. I was in the hospital with my wife when she was about to give birth, and I was playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey on a shitty laptop with a PS4 controller plugged into the laptop, and it actually worked fine. Now, obviously, for like an FPS, there's going to be some more noticeable latency there, but this is a nice. Google obviously has the capability to also harness their server farms to try and reduce latency, and they did. But this is a nice selling point because they're like, well, it doesn't even fucking matter. It syncs to our gaming service. You can switch screens whenever the fuck you want. You can pull it up on your phone and go take a shit with the controller and not skip a beat. You know what I mean? Hit pause. How do you guys feel about it?
I feel that there are too many like game clients out there now. It's the same thing with, like Netflix was made because cable was so convoluted.
Right.
And now you have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have fucking Amazon Prime, you have HBO Max. You have so many things you have to navigate to see like if a thing is on there before you just outward like rent it. I think it's like super annoying. That's really my only stance on the new gaming thing. Like I want to see it work. I want to see a new games launcher work. But it's just too much. There's deals spread across all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like what games on what platform is really at the end of the day, like the question. So whoever's going to come out victorious is the one who can provide the most content on it for the most decent price.
Right. Now, Yep.
I was just going to say I miss Steam being the fucking one, like the king of games. Like you just have one thing. I mean, all you have to worry about.
It really still is, though. Honestly.
That's true.
Yeah.
I buy everything I can.
Very true.
I'm still like that guy back against the wall who refuses to download the Epic Game Store. No matter how many like carrots on a stick they dangle in front of me, I'm like, fuck you. No. I'll
Good
pay.
Move. I respect you for that.
I'm going to pay $20 out of pocket right now in spite of you to buy Grand Theft Auto. I'm never going to play it on PC, but now I have it and I didn't get it from you. Suck my dick. But I think what's cool about this one is that it's set up in the same way that like a lot of cable TV is, which I know we said cable is very convoluted, but being able to pick which types of games you want to play, which packages you're interested in, and then allowing the channels that source those games to set their own pricing.
Yeah.
So as Amazon's price for their basic package, which I think comes with 200 games a month, those are mostly going to probably be old AAA titles that people have already played. If you missed the boat on them, you can play them again, or if you want to replay something.
Yeah. Right.
You're not going to be getting day ones. More than 1 or 2 day ones, you know what I mean? Because like, how can you charge $6 a month and then give people $50 titles?
Right.
It's the same kind of thing you have with Xbox's Game Pass. I think that's a large reason they bought out Bethesda too, to kind of call back to that. Now all those games from day one, whenever the sequel to Skyrim drops, or a Doom sequel, or if somehow me finding religion again and praying brings us a Evil Within Part 3, that'll be on Game Pass. But it's about like ways of representing different kinds of content. Like me as somebody who loves to play more first-person horror games, or someone who prefers shooters, you can subscribe to those packages, and those channels again set their own competitive rates.
Right. You
know what I mean? So like, who's to say if multiple channels will get the same games and be able to compete for pricing or not? We're not really sure how the market's going to work yet.
Right.
But I think out of all the ones that exist, this is the one that I would be the most excited about. But still, I prefer to own things instead of renting them. You know what I mean? Like, if you pay for it once and you have it.
Yeah. Yeah, it really, like you said, it's a measure of content. The channel thing is a good point to bring up. They also let you, with the base Luna package, they let you stream on 2 devices at a time, which I think is something that you can't do on Stadia, which is nice. So, you're really buying it for you and potentially someone else in the house that you might have, whether that be a roommate or a kid or whatever. That could be neat. I also like the idea as a new-ish father with a kid who's going to be interested in video games within the next 5 years, that there's a product out there. It's not a console. I can subscribe to a service and go, here's a controller and your iPad, leave dad alone on his computer. No, you can't play on my computer, kid.
Leave me alone.
I love you so much.
I just realized you're wearing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shirt.
That's right, because I am mature. That's exactly why.
I mean, I'm wearing a Star Fox shirt, so I can't talk shit on anybody.
Very nice. And all those listening to the audio-only version, I'm very sorry. We try to avoid visual cues, but you know what?
Yeah.
I'm just wearing a V-neck, so clearly I'm the cunt of the group.
Well, he's wearing a V-neck with the nipple holes cut out, so he can pinch them whenever he gets on the MCU.
Right. It also assless chaps, but you can't see that.
Clamp him.
If you subscribe
What's
to
that?
the Patreon monthly, we'll show you the picture of his assless chaps.
Yeah.
So the last topic we have to talk about could very well be a divisive one. Sorry, misspoke. The WandaVision trailer. I don't know how any of you feel about this, and I'm going to take my opinion and go last. So, Derek, out the gate, how'd you feel about it?
I'm actually happy to open on this one.
Okay.
Because I want to be unperverted by your opinions. I think, and it deserves a preface. I think that the Wanda and Vision in the movies were like D-list heroes. I think they were kind of boring. I feel like they made them a romance in Infinity War because they wanted to have that like impacting moment at the end, which you have to have that. I get that, but I felt like it was forced and cheap. That being said, like I put off watching this trailer until today because I was like, I know I'm gonna fucking hate it. I'm gonna think it's dumb. I think that the superhero in general like doesn't work as a show. It's like short form is good in a movie. It's like you get it, the punch happens, then it's over. You go home. That being said, I watched that trailer today and I was like, this looks pretty fucking good.
Oh,
like
shit.
I was psyched for it. Yeah.
The reversal.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, yeah. That
I
subversion.
thought it looks. I'm not like I'm not like cooming over it. I don't have like sticky thighs or anything, but I'm gonna watch it when it drops. What I like about it is, it seems a bit freaky, right? Like when they keep saying at the one dinner scene, "Oh, we just moved from," and then they're just like lost, like they don't know what to say.
Yeah, it's
"Oh, when'd you move here?" "Oh, we've lived in this town for," and they just can't quite answer.
right.
There's the scene where Vision approaches the woman in the car and she's like, "Are you dead?" "Well, what would force you to say that?" "Because you're dead."
Right.
I thought like all that stuff was like weird and jarring enough. And it has this like ode to 50s television.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. The whole thing, like the aura of it was just like enticing, dude. Like I'm into it. I'm going to watch it.
I mean, and just a couple notes before Scott gives his opinion too, is that so it's really kind of the series as a whole is really kind of diving into the depths of Wanda Maximoff's Scarlet Witch's powers because she's got the ability to literally manipulate space and time, but all we've ever seen her do is telekinesis and throw shit at people most of the time, except for her first introduction when she planted evil ideas in everybody's minds as a MacGuffin. The show's got an interesting cast of characters. Evan Peters is in it. Evan Peters, who was Quicksilver in the X-Men movies. People were saying that maybe they're going to have a crossover because it's sort of Wanda's known. She's also going to be in Multiverse of Madness, the Doctor Strange sequel. She's very much known for, I mean, House of M is a huge comic storyline where she literally deletes all the, mutants out of the MCU comics universe. Sorry. Obviously, Paul Bettany as Vision, and we're going to figure out how he's back to life. But the answer is probably going to be spoopy Scarlet Witch powers because she can do whatever the fuck she wants, basically. Kat Dennings is in it as Darcy Lewis from the Thor films. I didn't know that. I did not see her in the trailer, and I'm very curious to see how she fits in.
Yeah, same.
The woman in the car you were talking about is Catherine Hahn. A sneaking suspicion she's got a role in whatever's going on there because there was some links to Agnes, which is a witch in the comics or some shit. I didn't read the whole arc myself, but I looked up some notes about it.
It seemed like she was like when the husband was questioning, she kept saying like stop or something like that.
Yeah, and then we also know that there's going to be an adult Monica Rambeau, who's the little girl from Captain Marvel. And then I think Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange is going to show up at least at some point. So there's a lot going on here, and it looks like it's the potential to kind of set the stage for whatever they're going to do moving forward in the MCU with the universe. I mean, maybe they use the series to introduce the X-Men. Who knows how it wraps up? I am also very interested to see how it plays out. And much like you said, the superhero long format, I've always been for that. The like Daredevil was one of my favorite Marvel Netflix shows. I didn't like the other ones very much, but I think it only makes them better because it actually gives them time to flesh out those characters. Sure, a lot of Daredevil could have been fucking clipped off and to make it a smoother show, but you get so much time with him to understand motivations and traumas and all that shit. I feel like it only makes the character more well-rounded as opposed to movies who sometimes are overstuffed and have to do too much and therefore fail because of it.
Right.
How about you, Scott?
I'm kind of the polar opposite end from you guys.
Ooh, the double reversal.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I
this is weird.
I completely agree with Derek in the fact that like the relationship between Vision and Wanda, or it just felt disingenuous. It felt forced. I couldn't understand like what she would have seen in him, because there was nothing there to love.
Right.
He was a soul, like he had a few quips here and there, but there didn't seem to be any depth to him, any tenderness between them. It felt like it was just there again so you could have that impactful moment at the end. And somehow watching Tom Holland turn to dust in Robert Downey Jr.'s arms wasn't enough, I guess. You know what I mean? Like for me, that was just like, oh my God. Like I was Mike Myers as the old Jewish woman on SNL. Like I got all verklempt. You're like, I'm a little verklempt right now. Oh my God.
In my opinion,
in
my opinion, and I'm sorry to interject, I know you're making your points. The only good part about Vision from a dialogue perspective in any Marvel movie is a joke that doesn't even directly reference him. It's at the end of Age of Ultron when they're talking about how he could lift the hammer, and they go, what about if you put the hammer in the elevator? Is the elevator worthy? And I chuckled. And to me, that's the only thing that Vision does for me that I go, that was cool.
See, I loved Paul Bettany as the voice of Jarvis, though.
Fair.
But I thought his performance as Jarvis, as the AI, pre Age of Ultron, was better than his performance as the Vision at any point in those movies.
Somehow has more humanity to him.
Yeah. And I get that's his character is supposed to be that way, but if his character is supposed to be the way, how?
My understanding, to just parenthetically, I'm sorry to interrupt you, is that all the makeup had him so distracted that he had to teach himself meditating. No, I read this. It fucked him up. It made him break out and shit like that.
Oh, shit.
And he would sit in between takes in his trailer and meditate and just think about how there were millions of other people who would want that role, to distract himself from the fact that this makeup was driving him fucking insane, literally. So I feel like that kind of made him as robotic as he needed to be. But I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah. I mean, I only care about this story, this narrative, as it relates to Multiverse of Madness, because I'm excited to see an actual horror movie in the MCU.
Yeah.
I think when the MCU takes, and I know Derek doesn't think they take very many, but when they take risks, when they do like we could argue all day, but Captain America: Civil War, if you believe in that universe, if you care, it has the same emotional weight as a military espionage movie, or I don't know, fucking a Mission Impossible type deal, kind of. You have Ant-Man, which is a great heist film, and with the recent release of New Mutants, you had an attempt at a comic book horror movie that kind of fell flat, but it didn't have a full arc to it. I think was the biggest problem with this. With WandaVision, we have a slow burn to build up that spooky vibe. Yeah. I mean, it seems like from the trailer, it is going to be bordering on that creepy supernatural kind of vibe. So by the time we get to Multiverse of Madness, they don't have to pull punches. Right. It can be it can be fucking horror. People know what to expect by the time that drops.
Right.
And they don't have to ease you into it, like Bugs Bunny into Yosemite Sam's pot. You know what I mean?
I was waiting to see how that payoff was coming.
That big toe, like that little he slides in. You can hear it in your fucking head right now.
I can. Go ahead.
No, I mean that's basically it. I'm excited for Multiverse of Madness. I think anything that's going to help support that film and build the world that it has to exist in without us having to spend a half hour to an hour getting into what's going on there is only going to benefit that film. And I'm really excited to see a genuine horror film in the MCU and to see what they do with it. See if they maybe lean closer towards an R rating now that they've also been flirting with the idea of making Blade a hard R within the MCU canon.
Yeah.
So I would like to see him push some envelopes, push a little,
That'd be cool. I agree.
Yeah.
Some things that are worth pointing out. It looked like she was, as sort of things broke down around her, the dinner guests that you were talking about. It looked like they cut to different sitcom eras. So there was the 50s, 60s thing, which was, I think, the major focus of the trailer. But then there was a shot that looked a whole fucking lot like Roseanne, that kind of era of sitcoms. They flashed through a couple, sitcom settings, so to speak. So it's interesting to see. We're clearly inside of her mind, or she's literally warping all reality around her, which is dangerous as fuck. Seeing, we don't know who's involved in this. We don't know if it's literally her going crazy because she might have saved everything by helping the Avengers stop Thanos, but she has nothing afterwards. Which was, in my opinion, one of the more badass parts of the fight in the end of Endgame, because you hadn't seen her up until that point. And all of a sudden she pulls up to Thanos and just starts fucking him up. And you realize very quickly, oh, right, she's one of the only people there that could just pull him apart, like fucking to quote one of my favorite internet gags of all time, pull him apart like soft bread. And I don't know if anyone gets that fucking reference.
Oh,
but
100%.
It put me apart like soft bread.
Stop me with your kind boots, sir.
Wearing my shoes. Anyway, so when you see her, go to, you're like, oh shit, she could literally kill this man right fucking now because she's got that much power. And of course, it's like a bullshit like blank slate to do whatever you want because her power scale is so high. But at the same time, that's interesting to me. Someone who's you don't get to see it a lot. And then in a moment like that, she breaks it out. So the whole series to kind of flesh out, one, her powers, her family, all the loss and tragedy that she's gone through up until this point, and then to see what ends up ultimately taking place in this series, what universe altering things are going to happen moving forward. So
yeah,
I mean,
and the Truman Show aspect of it is what's most interesting to me.
It's
is
very
that they're
neat,
like,
yeah.
Clearly, throughout that trailer, they're realizing that like something is weird. That kind of stuff really freaks me out. Like that ploy, like just kind of like gets through and fucking freaks me out. So I'm interested to see like what they'll do with that. I don't know how it'll play into whatever like phase 2 is.
Right.
I honestly don't really care for whatever phase 2 is, but this show, like this trailer, genuinely, I think it looks good. I think it looks enjoyable.
Cool.
I have a theory, if I may.
Oh,
I don't know.
Absolutely.
I mean, potential spoilers, but the odds of me being right are slim to fucking none. But my thinking is that the reason she didn't successfully tear Thanos apart at the end of Endgame is because she isn't as powerful as she is in the comics yet.
Oh.
And that we've seen before in comic books and in real life that trauma tends to amplify emotion, and her powers are based on her emotions. When she like reaches in and she's angry over the death of Vision, we see her stronger than she's ever been while she's fighting Thanos.
Yep.
Who's to say that her warping of reality isn't some unintentional delusion? Because her powers are amplifying with all the trauma she's been through. She could be going through some kind of like deep-seated psychosis, and it's manifesting physically around her.
Right.
And we could see that be a buildup that leads into the multiverse of madness, where her power is so great that it's altering reality all around. And maybe the only person who can see what's going on
Or stop her.
is Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Or stop her is Doctor Strange.
That's interesting.
I think that would be a cool buildup, but also to see like how the worst of her fears and her hate and her anger could manifest itself physically in a horror movie. If that's the way they go with it, I think that would be fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool idea for sure. Definitely. All right, guys, final thoughts? Anything else you want to add about that? Let me wrap this bad boy up. No?
I mean, usually we can't shut the fuck up. This is weird.
Well, that's
I'm gonna rate this one 7 incel jars of cum out of 10.
it's Coomb. Thank you.
Kumba.
Now, if the listeners want to chime in on this whole coom debate, how can they reach us? How can they reach out to
I
us?
feel like we need
Great question, Scott and Derek. If you guys want to write in and ask us any questions, or write in and tell us we're all fucking wrong about our theories and thoughts, you can reach us at questions@thecynicalnerd.com. The podcast will be going up at thecynicalnerd.com, and then all podcast directories that you might use. We're also going to have a video version published to our YouTube channel, which is on YouTube.
Now, Chris, what video directories what audio directories would those be? Would that be like Spotify?
Wherever you get your podcasts. I'm talking Apple. I'm talking Google. I'm talking Spotify / Anchor. I'm talking Stitcher, whatever the fuck that is. It's one of them. You might someone out there uses it, or you can just grab ye old RSS feed and snag it that way. Pull it into any of your podcasting applications. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/thecynicalnerd. And, that's going to wrap it up. My name is Chris. You can find me at twitch.tv/TCNplays. Scott, where can they find you?
My name is Scott. You can find me at Swearwolf at twitchtv.com.
And Derek?
And my name is Dr. Gary Gloom. And you can find me at twitch.tv/Dr. Gloom, MD.
The MD is very important.
There's no .com. I forgot. There's no .com. I'm still in that mixer state of mind. I'm still like we talked about before. You know what I mean?
I did that the other night, and someone like really shredded me. They were like, .com, you fucking idiot. I was like, Jesus Christ.
All right, boys. Well, thanks for being here. We'll talk next week. And everybody who's listening, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Shmeg Ryan.